What's up, you guys? It's Zamara, and tonight I bring you a dimly lit, me holding the camera game review of Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku 2, which was available for the Game Boy Advance. And it's very important that I make this game review because for some reason I had forgotten about this game, and this should be punishable because this was a great game. For being a Game Boy game, it was just super great. So let's see what I remember best about it. Well, for starters, I did play the first Legacy of Goku, and let me tell you, it made me suffer because, for instance, your character cannot even run, so you had to go either at the pace that you have when you use a pixel character. I don't know if that defines that well, but anyway, it's very easy to find online. And also, if you were to go faster, you could fly, but you could only go so many steps. And even when you upgrade, it's toward the end of the game, and you really want to save your wings as best as possible because you never know when you're truly going to need it, and they may not always be that easy to find. But anyways, back to the Legacy of Goku 2. For starters, you can run in this one. That's great. And you can also switch characters, which makes sense because, I mean, this game is the Android saga. It covers the Android saga. So it would really stink for you to stick to just one character when we know that the Android saga, everybody had their time in the spotlight. You had freaking Gohan, you had Goku and Vegeta and Trunks and Piccolo. Everybody had a role, the Z fighters. So it's only natural that you'll see them being integrated into the game as key characters. There were some zones that you couldn't beat unless you were playing a certain character at a certain level, and I thought that was good because it kept you wanting to go back to the game to progress in it, invest plenty of time training and whatever, because it was so well developed. All of the areas were sweet, they were just fun to play, and for me, I just couldn't wait, and I would always look forward to the next step in the game. So I remember my favorite part had to be when you would run little errands in West City, and back then my English was not that good, so I remember that for quite some time I struggled with the little village of the Triceratops, only because I couldn't follow a certain instruction, and then it took a friend of mine spotting something, and I was like, oh yeah, this is how you do it. And also, there's a part where there's like a hidden path behind a waterfall. And my friend was the one to discover that, and that's where I had been stuck at the longest. So that was embarrassing. But anyway, another thing that was great about this game is that you could choose when to become Super Saiyan. And when you become Super Saiyan, you notice the difference in your performance. Like, you walk faster, so you pretty much almost walk at the pace that you would run, and then you can imagine just how quickly the running would go. Also, I loved the story, the way it was tackled. It's the text very well written for kids our age back then. And I also remember that my favorite place to hang out at was the Capsule Corp, because although within the game they had to keep it small, it had good details to it, and I loved going to Miss Brief and getting cookies from her and eating all 99 of them and really not getting what the point of it was, but apparently it helped your HP go up by 1 point. And if I remember right, you can have over 1,000 HP. Yeah, I remember I remember it being over 1,000. So imagine how many damn cookies you would need to fully heal from just eating cookies. And then, yeah, my favorite character to play as had to be, of course, Vegeta, because Vegeta. And I also remember the one quest that I thought was one of the neatest had to be when you were helping that one, I think it's the Brontosaurus, move her eggs out of a generator that you gotta destroy. There's like 3 generators that you gotta destroy to get to Dr. Jiro's lab. I thought that was awesome because it kept the game from getting boring. But I do remember that those that forest, I hated some parts of it. But then there was a part where it was raining and it could get tough because there were many high level enemies. And then the snowy area, I vaguely remember it, but I remember that when I saw that the place was unlockable, I thought this is going to be my favorite place because I just love places with snow. So yeah, while we're on that note, that was another good thing about it. You could go into houses. It's kind of like Pokemon. Go into houses, open the world. You got rescue missions. You can fly around the world in a map, kind of like Budokai 3 for the PlayStation 2. And then additionally, you could fly within your quests, but it was if you stood over a little platform. So it was really just a visual effect to make it feel, you know, Dragon Ball Z-ish, because what's Dragon Ball Z without any flight, you know? So yeah, another thing that I absolutely enjoyed was when you go to space to train with Vegeta. You know, you're talking about a Game Boy game featuring this. Not even all of the PS2 games had something like this, you know, where you're training in an asteroid. Of course, it's nothing huge, nothing big, the mechanics are still the same, but you know, the fact that you see the change in scenery, that was great. So, yeah, you guys, you know, there's really not much to really say in this. If you're not a Game Boy player, or if you were not, then yeah, this probably wouldn't be the game for you, but I'm sure you would enjoy it still if you're an overall Dragon Ball Z fan. And I just thought that it was incredible that they were able to put so much detail into just a tiny little game. You know how many megabytes is a Game Boy Advance game, but yet you could fulfill so much in them. I thought that was amazing, and the graphics were pretty decent for what we had back in the day, you know? So I would do anything to be able to play it again, but it got stolen. But yeah, you guys, that is all that I have to say for now. Maybe if I think of something else that was super about this, I may revisit this topic. But yeah, I just have very fond memories of it, and that's really what I do whenever I make these reaction videos. I'm just expressing how I remember it, what I remember about it, what was great and what wasn't, what frustrated me. And yeah, I remember this game being awesome. It was a game that once I beat it, I kept going back to it. And honestly, it took me a long time to beat because I had the language barrier situation going on, you know? And here, your quests are given as instructions in a journal. So if you don't know what it's asking for, then you're just really wandering around the game. Some stuff you can figure because the map has a star over the places that you need to go, but if you don't know what you're doing, where you're going, then yeah, it doesn't help much. Alright, you guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.